Okay, today, boys and girls, we're going to read one of Rhett's favorite stories. It's called The Phantom of Funland. And I got my buddy here, Henry. He's sitting here keeping me company. So here we go. There's the Phantom. There's Garfield and John. And they're going to look for Odie. The Phantom of Funland. The old amusement park had been closed for years, and the wooden gate creaked as the grim night watchman opened it. John and Garfield stepped inside. "What do you want?" asked the watchman. "We're looking for my dog," John explained. "Odie was chasing fireflies and followed them through a hole in your fence. He does stuff like that, and I got lost." "Because he has more tongue than brains," muttered Garfield. He glanced at the decaying buildings. "This place is creepy. Let's find Odie and get out." "I've heard Funland is haunted," John said to the watchman. "Is it true?" "Beware of the phantom," was all the watchman said. "The phantom!" cried Garfield. "On second thought, Odie can find his own way home." "Let's go, John. We're missing Fun with Fungus on public television." John gulped. "Is there really a phantom?" "Beware," the watchman repeated. Then he vanished into the night. "I hear my teddy bear calling," said Garfield, turning to leave. "Hold it, Garfield," said John. "We can't leave Odie here." "Oh, all right," Garfield grumbled, "but I really hate being haunted." John and Garfield began searching the park. They crept past the old fun house, where a giant plaster clown's head grinned eerily on the moonlit roof. They peeked into the dark arcade. They checked the shadows under the roller coaster, but there was no Odie. As they passed the fun house again, a maniacal scream echoed down the midway. John and Garfield froze in their tracks. Then a shadow on the fun house roof caught Garfield's eye. "John, I see some," but Garfield couldn't finish. The giant clown's head was hurtling toward them. "Look out!" cried Garfield, pushing John aside. The clown's head smashed into the ground, barely missing them. "John, someone really doesn't want us here," said Garfield. "I mean, someone besides me." Trembling at every shadow, they continued to search, but Odie was nowhere to be found. Finally, they sat down on the darkened carousel. Suddenly, the carousel lit up and started spinning. "Whoa!" cried John as he and Garfield scrambled onto horses. "Who started this thing?" "I did," said a low, sinister voice. Slowly, John and Garfield turned around. Riding behind them was the Phantom. His bony fingers reached for Garfield, while with his other black-gloved hand he held tightly to the lurching horse. "Nice ride," said Garfield. "Well, we have to panic now. See ya." With a shriek, John and Garfield leaped off the carousel and raced away. The Phantom chased after them. Desperate to escape, Garfield veered through the door of the funhouse. Immediately, the floor dropped away and he tumbled down a long slide into the darkness. He finally skidded to a halt at the bottom, only to come face to face with another gruesome creature. Garfield screamed. The creature screamed. Then the creature gave Garfield a familiar, sloppy lick. "Odie," said Garfield, hugging his friend, "you goofy mutt. Thanks to you, we're all going to be phantom fodder. We've got to find John and get out of here." First, they had to find a way out of the funhouse. Garfield spied a strip of light. "Must be a door," he said. He eased it open. The room was bare except for a cot and a pile of clothes. "Look, here's the watchman's uniform," Garfield said. "But where's the watchman?" Odie stuck his nose under the cot and came out with a black glove. Garfield examined it closely. "Odie, I'm beginning to think that Phantom is a phony. Let's find out." When the two pets finally found their way out of the funhouse, they heard John crying, "Help! Help!" They dashed toward the sound. The Phantom had cornered John beneath the Ferris wheel. "Drop that arbuckle!" cried Garfield, rushing forward. He threw himself on a control lever. The Ferris wheel started to spin, scooping the Phantom into a seat. Garfield spun the Ferris wheel back and forth very fast. After a few minutes, the Phantom cried, "I give up! I give up! Make it stop!" When the Phantom reached the bottom, Garfield hit the brake. The Phantom lurched forward. "I don't feel so good," he moaned, slowly removing his mask. "The Night Watchman!" exclaimed John. "I believe this is yours," said Garfield, handing the watchman a black glove. "Why were you scaring us?" John demanded. "To keep you from snooping around here," explained the man, who was still a little pale. "My name is Higgins. I used to be the night watchman at Funland. When the park closed, I stayed behind." "Why would you hang around this creepy place?" asked John. "I love this old park," Higgins said. "It's been my home for 30 years. But I knew if the owners found out I was here, they'd make me leave. So I created the Phantom to scare nosy people away. Now I'll have to go," he said sadly. "Mr. Higgins, I'll keep your secret," said John, "but on the condition you'd have to let me visit you. I want to ride that carousel again." "It's a deal," said Mr. Higgins with a smile. "I'll come back too," added Garfield, "but you have to promise me 2 things. No ghosts and tons of cotton candy." "All right, chillin'. There's your story. Good night. Love you."